Hi, I'm Denai McDaniel, CSI Critical Scripture, investigator and daughter of Bishop Michael A. McDaniel. Hope you enjoy the video. Thesis statement. Is there a direct correlation between Genesis 3:15 and Abraham justification by faith alone? Yes. There is a direct, organic, and theological connection between Genesis 3:15, Abraham's justification by faith alone, and the unfolding doctrine of redemptive righteousness. Genesis 3:15 establishes the promise of redemptive victory through a coming seed. Abraham believes this promise as it is clarified and narrowed to his lineage. God justifies Abraham by faith alone, because faith is the ordained means by which fallen humanity participates in the seed promise. Genesis 3:15. The Proto-Evangelium text. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Genesis 3:15. Theological significance. Genesis 3:15 is the first gospel proclamation, a unilateral divine promise, a future-oriented redemptive decree, no law, no human condition, no works. Redemption is promised, not achieved. The seed motif introduced. Zera, zera, seed, singular and collective, anticipates a person, a lineage, a victorious redeemer, the method of participation, faith, not works. From Genesis 3 onward, humanity is fallen, access to life is barred. Genesis 3:24. Redemption must come from God to man, not man to God. Faith becomes the only viable response to promise. Abraham as the covenantal narrowing of the seed promise. Genesis 12:1-3, the seed promise reframed. In you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Genesis 3:15 to universal promise. Genesis 12 to particular lineage. Abraham becomes the vessel, not the source. Abraham does not create the promise, he receives it. No righteousness claimed, no merit cited, no achievement listed, he is called not commended. Genesis 15:6, justification by faith alone. And he believed the Lord, and he counted it to him as righteousness. Forensic action. God equals judge. Abraham equals declared righteous. Basis equals belief in promise. Object of faith equals the seed promise unfolding. Faith has content. Abraham's faith is not generic theism. It is faith in the redemptive promise begun in Genesis 3:15 and clarified through covenant. The seed promise and justification are inseparable. 7. Why faith alone? A theological necessity works would corrupt the promise. Romans 4:14. If those who are of the law are heirs, faith is made void. Faith preserves. God's sovereignty, the gratuity of grace, the certainty of the seed's victory, faith, aligns with enmity. Genesis 3:15 establishes enmity between serpent and seed, between serpent's offspring and faith people. Faith places Abraham on the seed's side. Genesis 22, the seed and substitution. God will provide for himself the lamb. Genesis 22:8. Isaac equals seed bearer. Ram equals substitutionary provision. Faith looks forward to a greater seed. This is seed theology in narrative form. Canonical confirmation, without doctrinal importation. Scripture itself ties these strands together. Genesis 3:15, seed promised. Genesis 15:6, faith credited. Genesis 22, seed preserved. Genesis 49:10, seed royalized. Genesis 49:18, I wait for your salvation. Genesis anticipates justification by faith because redemption precedes law. Theological synthesis. One redemptive story, there is no discontinuity between Eden, Abraham, Christ, only progressive clarity. Abraham as the pattern believer. Abraham believes what Adam forfeited, what the seed would restore, what God promised unconditionally. Doctrinal conclusions. 1. Genesis 3:15 establishes grace before law. 2. Abraham is justified because he believes the seed promise. 3. Faith alone is the divinely ordained response to redemptive promise. 4. Justification is grounded in future redemption, not past obedience. 5. The gospel is not new in Paul, it is ancient in Genesis. Final theological declaration. There is an unbroken theological line from Genesis 3:15 to Abraham's justification by faith alone. The seed promise necessitates faith. Faith receives righteousness. Righteousness aligns the believer with the victorious seed. Abraham stands justified not because he works, but because he believes the promise first spoken in Eden. Traditional closing. Respectfully submitted, Denai A. McDaniel, CSI.